Heroes and villains, welcome back to the channel. Genesis 7 here. I hope you're all doing well. And today's video, we're talking about characters. We're going to talk about heroes and villains. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? So the way I concept this video in my head, the way I had it all planned out, and we'll see how it goes that way, is that I'm trying to appeal to players that are already playing so we can create some discussion on our favourite heroes and villains, who's OP, who's not OP, who needs a buff, who not needs a buff, everything like that. And then also kind of shout out to you guys that haven't got access to the game, that I want to have a look a little bit more in depth to the characters that are currently in the game. Not like really in depth, that's what my character overview series will consist of when the game gets released worldwide. This is just kind of like a little kind of like analysis, I guess. Just a quick analysis on some characters. So there will be timestamps in the comment section or the description down below if you want to go to a character that you want to see straight away. Also, the comment section is open to everyone. For those that are not playing the game, if there's a certain character you want to see, let me know in the comment section below, or even comment characters you want to see in the game in the future. Let's see if these characters are up to par in their in-game statistics. Also, people that are playing soft launch alongside me, let me know if you agree with what I'm saying about these characters, or maybe there's something I've missed on a character that I haven't said. I think that's everything I want to kind of cover in the video, so we'll just go on ahead, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to have DC heroes and villains content throughout the year, and I just kind of want to, you know, just kind of talk about characters, get some discussion going between players that are not playing, players that are playing, and just build some hype all around. So let's go over to this, and if I didn't say already, remember we are in soft launch, so the character statistics, abilities may well change by the time you may get your hands on the game. Bear that in mind. I just want to create some discussion, make a little bit of content, and have some fun all around. So let's get into it. I'm going to do 8 characters I think in this video, and then I can do 8 in the next video, 8 more, and just kind of do it that way. We're not going to cover any of the fodder, so any of the the NPC characters I like to call them. We're just going to go straight for all the known heroes and villains, and maybe some not known heroes and villains in the DC universe. So that's enough blabbering. Let's go into the first one here. We have Killer Croc, and wow, Killer Croc is just definitely an all-rounder. He's definitely someone you want on your team. You probably noticed here it says neutral. What that means is you can put him on your villain team, you can put him on your hero team, no issues there. So that's a perk in itself, because you can definitely take him into PvP. But it is all like the most enticing thing about Killer Croc, and I'm losing my words here because I'm thinking, is he enticing? Is he like, what word am I looking for? But we'll roll with enticing. It's the fact that he's a tank, and he is a really good tank, and we're going to go over very briefly why. So if we click on the top corner here, it says Sentinel. I think this is their term for a tank. Sentinel will survive longer in battle. They typically have more defense and HP than other roles. Their role is to absorb damage. So let's go over his passive, his power move, and his synergy. So his passive makes him immune to critical hits, which is definitely something you want to have on a tank. If someone's taking in damage, you want them to be immune to critical hits and just get the normal damage, because sometimes in critical hits, they're pretty critical. So having this all battle, it doesn't last a number of turns, it just makes him immune to critical hits by default. And also, he starts the battle with an increased defense for a certain amount of turns. So if you can get his taunt, which we'll talk about in just a second, on straight away, you're definitely going to be taking in all these hits and dishing out so much damage without really taking a hit to your team whatsoever. As you can see, the way this levels up as you go over, when you get dupes of Killer Croc, it will increase. So this is kind of the max of his passive, you can see here. But again, it may change, please note that. But each time Killer Croc is inflicted with a debuff, it targets a random enemy instead. So this really comes into play when we look at his power move. Massive impact, so it deals damage, and I don't think damage is the most important thing here. The most important thing is the fact that he gains taunt and robustness. Now taunt, obviously, that's going to make everything play from his passive, so he's going to be taking in the damage. If enemy throws a debuff on him, he's going to throw it back to another random enemy. He's not going to take in any critical hits, and obviously with him being a tank by default, he's going to be soaking in that damage and not dying so soon, or perishing, or whatever kind of status we want to use. Should we just go with KO? He would not be KO'd. So, and robustness kind of helps him It doesn't matter what color damage is coming his way, it's reduced. So it doesn't matter what color gets used on him or what color the enemy is. Robustness just decreases the damage all around. So that combined with the defense and the critical hit, you can see why Killer Croc is definitely someone you want on the team. And the fact that he's neutral, he can go on both teams for PvP. So Killer Croc, as of right now, is a character you want to put on your team straight away. Level him up, try and max out, try and get dupes, and just get him as great as you can straight off the bat, because it's going to help you out considerably. And a brief look at his synergy, we can see that he can block buffs if you use any more of the Suicide Squad team here. So you've got Enchantress, Amanda Waller, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn. So if you are rolling with those on your team, that's another kind of plus there, just a little side note. So that's Killer Croc in a nutshell. Very good character. Let's have a look at Riddler. Now, I really like Riddler, and looking on the Discord, link below, you'll see that a lot of other people are very big fans of Riddler. So we can have a look at him here. He is a disruptor. So essentially what a disruptor does, it focuses on stopping and slowing enemies on the field or on the battlefield to attack and defend, which is good. It's like a debuffer, essentially. So let's have a look at his passive. His passive, when he's attacked, this is my stats as of right now, so this isn't my final stats of being at max, and also soft launch. I'm going to keep saying that because maybe you'll click on this video when something's changed and we'll be like, Jen, it's not what you're saying here. It's not the same. That's my disclaimer for me. When attacked, 25% chance to replace a red tile with a green tile. This can occur 3 times per turn, and the first time his HP drops below 50, gain stealth for 3 turns and force the ally with the highest HP to taunt. Now, this is kind of like a bit of both here. It could be a double-edged sword, especially with the fact that when he drops below HP, he throws taunt on it. Could be a character that isn't really good at taunting and maybe not be able to soak in the damage you want. But the main thing here is it takes the attention away from him. It stealths with him so he can't be targeted, and also someone else is getting attacked. So something to bear in mind there. The fact that you can replace red tiles with green tiles is definitely going to help him out when you want to come to leveling his power, using his power move and getting it active as soon as you can. And I think that's about it, really. I guess you could say I'm a little bit stumped on what else to say, because his ability is called stumped. Anyway, his power move is Induce Confusion. Now this is the move I love, and this really makes him a debuffer and an asset to the team, most definitely. Attack all enemies and inflict stun for 1 turn. As of right now, that doesn't increase the turns, but it will be nice to see, with him being a 5-star character, that maybe that turn count can increase the more dupes you get and level up the power move. This can really save you and get you out of sticky situations, especially with getting extra hits in on the guild fights, for instance, because your whole stick with the guild fights is stunning Trigon and being able to get some hits in while he's stunned. This helps out with that. I don't know if it actually stuns Trigon off the top of my head. It might not now, so that kind of voids out that opinion. But when you're kind of doing PvP and just going through the story and doing the story and all the events, it definitely helps out to have that extra turn to kind of dish in as much damage that you can and try and get everyone else's power moves on par. Really like him. He's never failed me so far, so that's why I think Riddler is definitely someone you want in your party. And something I haven't mentioned is their hero color or villain color. It should be quite obvious when we look on screen at what color they are, but if you want me to mention it, I guess I could. So I'll do that now with the Flash. He is a red hero character, and he is classed as an amplifier. An amplifier, abilities focus on teams, health, and status effects. So basically, he's a healer or a buffer, buffing the party. In the Flash's case, he is a buffer, definitely, and one you really want to invest in if you have the Flash. And we'll go over why. Looking at his passive, channeled velocity. All allies gain immunity to speed debuffs, which will help out what his power move does. at the start of battle for 6 turns. Not like the grandiose kind of passive ability to have, but as you level up, as you can see here, level 3, at the start of any new enemy waves, so this is usually in story, and PvP, because I do believe they class them as waves, like, because you've got don't quote me on that, but I think it might be. But there's a chance of red tiles appearing on the board by 10% for 3 turns. That'll definitely help out getting his power move on. Also, going back to Riddler, having more red tiles on the board means more red tiles to turn to green, which is nice. But the main thing I like about the Flash is his power move, energy transmission, attacks all enemies, so basic kind of like attack. But the main thing here is he grants haste buff on all allies for 2 turns, and essentially when you're with haste, it takes less matches to power up your power move. So each character has a statistic, and if we go into the flashes by clicking here, we can see his speed is 4. Essentially that means 3 matches will get his power move up. It will increase for himself and all the allies when they've got haste buff on. So essentially you're going to be dishing out power moves, boom, boom, boom. If you've got a mixed team included with Riddler, having the stun and then using Flash's power move, it's your chance to dish out so many power moves straight off the bat. Synergy, I know I didn't look at Riddler's synergy, but I don't think synergies are important just yet. But as for the Flash, Justice League, and it increases main colour attacks of any hero in the team. So that's that. Definitely invest in the Flash. I recently unlocked him and seen his potential, and I was like, let's do this. Let's do this and get the Flash out there. Let's go over to Circe. She is a red villain character. She is a supporter, so essentially she's a buffer as well. And the main reason she is a buffer here is because of her, not a passive, it'll be a power move, but a passive, when attacked, it applies a Circe tag. This will help out when we come to a power move. It also inflicts magic resistance debuff on enemy tagged Circe for 3 turns. So anyone that's got the tag, so the more times she's attacked, the more tags she puts out, the more tags she puts out, the more magic resistance debuff she puts out, because it will help out with the magic attacks, which she also does. The power move attacks all targets with a Circe tag. So essentially anyone that's tagged, so if you manage to tag the whole battlefield, it's going to attack everyone. But the main thing here is it heals all allies. 17% of Circe's HP, and I think that might increase, not at the moment, but it'll be nice to see it increase. And it also reduces the power gauge of all targets by 30% and increase the power gauge of all allies by 30%. The power gauge is your thing for your power moves, so combined with the Flash, very, very useful. So yeah, you're probably noticing that oh, Jen, you're not really spending much time on some characters and other characters. I want to keep these brief because the really in-depth analysis is when these characters are finalized for worldwide launch, like I've said. I want to do my character overviews. So let's go over to Firefly. He is a great DPS here. It says here, warrior, essentially DPS. And that's what I use him for. I really like him because he's on my villain team and he just does the damage while everyone else is doing their thing that you've seen so far. So his passive, when attacked, 5% chance to reduce enemies' fire resistance by 25%. That's useful when we come to his power move. As you can see, it increases as you kind of get more dupes of Firefly. If we go over to his power move, we can see it attacks all enemies, and that's key. That's what I like about him. He just goes out and does all enemies there with damage multiplier, and it inflicts defense down debuff on the target for 3 turns. Now I believe this is also like a fire damage attack, so having that debuff that you've had from his passive inflicted and then using this, it's going to do extra damage. And then if you are able to use his power move again, because once it's done defense down and then you get to use it again, it's just more damage essentially for the whole team. And that's why I like using Firefly, because he's one of the very few heroes or villains in the game right now that has a defense down debuff to inflict to the targets, and the fact that he's a DPS, it's very nice. Let's go over to the next one. We got the Penguin. Now I loved the Penguin before he got changed up, when we used to have power and ranged, melee and ranged moves, because the tiles on the battlefield Imagine the shape of an umbrella that shot up and fired all those. It was amazing, but he's been a little bit nerfed. He's now a tank, questionable, I guess. But again, chances for these characters to change. We have a look at his passive when you're fighting in Gotham. So if you do have Penguin off the bat going through Gotham's story, or even I think sometimes, I don't know if this applies when the PvP maps are on Gotham. Maybe they'll start rotating the maps, so maybe these can help out in those situations. Who knows what they've got planned, but I guess that's a good idea off the top of my head. When fighting in Gotham, start the battle with the charge bar filled by 50%. That is nice. Combined with the characters we talked previously, you're getting that power move out. And when I say combined with the characters previously, I'm usually referring to if you've got a mixed team. We don't need to go into heroes and villains specific teams just yet. We're just looking at the characters and talking about them. Also, purple tiles have a 7.5% to inflict damage over time, which is really, really nice. Does it over 4 turns at the moment where I've got it. This was pretty OP before the previous update, especially in raids, guild raids in particular. They've nerfed that, but it's nice to see damage over time because it really helps out. Maybe it might get a slight buff to be as good as it once was. That will definitely make Penguin viable. Try to combine the words there, like Pangruffle. Ignore me, I'm on a whim here. So yeah, it would be nice to see damage over time to be like it was back in the day, but it isn't, so it's something to appreciate nonetheless, especially because it's just purple tiles have a chance to inflict that if you've got Penguin on your team. His power move attacks all enemies, a very basic attack at the moment, and it grants a taunt buff on the self for 3 turns. Not much else to say on that, if I'm honest. I do use him in my villain team just because of the damage over time chance, and just having an extra tank alongside Killer Croc kind of keeps Killer Croc alive a little bit longer. So it's the only reason I'm using Penguin at the moment. Let's go over to this. This will be our last character. I think, is this 8? No, 7. We got Nightwing to go. So I'll keep going. I'll keep going until we get to Nightwing. So we've got Katana. She is a hero, a DPS. The main reason I use her is the fact that she's a DPS. When we have a look at her abilities, Infuriating Meditation. At the end of a turn, if she's stealth, it fills the charge bar by additional 20%. Very helpful. And then on each successful dodge, fills the charge bar by 35%. So her passive is really based on if you've got certain buffs on yourself to then enhance your charge bar. Looking at a power move, you'll see why that starts to make sense. Attacks a single target, dealing damage. This attack ignores armor. That is a great tool because sometimes enemies on the field will have a beefy armor bar, and it can be quite frustrating to get that down. If you've got a character like Katana that can bypass that, it's very, very helpful because it ignores it and you can get them off the battlefield as soon as you can. And this increases dodge chance for 3 turns, and that kind of plays back into her passive. Let's finish off this video with Nightwing. I think I've tried to keep this video as quick as I can, but I can see on my timer we're nearly at 20 minutes. So I think 8 characters is a good kind of balance for the time being. So Nightwing, before the update, I really liked him, his set. I still like him as a character. His abilities, we'll go over them. So he is classed as an amplifier, so concentrating on team health and status effects. So let's have a look at his passive. Increases blue attack of all enemies by 25%. Very generic passive, not much to kind of tout about on that one. But that does increase when you get to level 3. You've got some additional things here. On dodge, all allies gain 50% chance to increase their dodge chance, which helps out Katana if you're rolling a hero team. Also, their blue attack is increased even more by the looks of it, for additional 3 more turns on top of that. So what we've got at the moment applies to throughout the battle, no turn count. An additional 25% once you hit level 3 for 3 turns. That's 50% increase in blue attack. So if you're rolling another blue, maybe a strong blue, it will definitely help out. His power move, Eskrima Stick Shock. I always pronounce, I think when I did the character overview of Nightwing, to kind of showcase what character overviews are going to, I kept butchering that word. So I hope I did it justice this time. Very simple attack here. It does damage, 2 hits on the single enemy, so boom boom. 60% per hit, so just look at that as a 120% damage hit as a whole. And it inflicts stun. That's a reason why I use him, because of the stun there, especially when I'm using a hero focus team. I've got someone that has that debuff. And as of right now, there's no additional kind of increases as you level up. But again, we are in soft launch. I don't know why I'm shouting at you. I'm really trying to cover my back here. But we're in soft launch. That may change. I know I've missed out some synergies, and you might want to see them. Let me know if you wanted to see synergies as well, and you don't mind sitting through an extra couple of minutes of dialogue from yours truly. But that kind of covers it in this video. We've gone over my 8 top characters at the moment. These are the characters I'm using all the time. You can see we've got some more characters here. Forget about the fodder, the NPCs. We're not going to cover them unless we need to, unless you want to see them. We can do an NPC special. But for the time being, we're concentrating on the heroes and villains. I don't mind going to have a look at characters that I've not unlocked. Let me know in the comment section below. That's the most important thing right now. So if there is a character you want to see and you're not playing the game, let me know. If there are characters that you are using and you're playing soft launch, let me know. And we'll have a discussion. See who needs a bit of a nerf maybe because they're a bit OP. See who needs a buff because they have the potential and it's not quite there yet. Because if we get all this data, it might give some ideas out to developers to get these characters tuned to how we want them. But we can't make them too OP because we don't want to breeze through this game. But we definitely want some characters that are worth kind of like to be sought after, essentially, and have them really powerful abilities in certain situations. So that does it for me. I think I've done what I wanted to do in this video. I just wanted to talk characters, give a bit more of an in-depth preview of those characters instead of going through the splash screen, boom, boom, boom. And I'm happy with what I've got here. I hope you guys are happy too. If you've sat throughout the whole video, I appreciate that. If you skipped to a certain character, I appreciate that too. And that's me. I'm done. I'll get you another video with the other characters, maybe next week, the week after. We'll see how things pan out. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.